This is the 2016 Jaguar XF 35T, and today we're going to work on the bumper. We're going to give it a new paint job in light of all the different colors out there and the things we can achieve together. So let's get started on the bumper install, replacement, and paint on our old Jaguar. So the first thing I want to do right now is to raise the vehicle and put it on jack stands. With these things, be very careful. You're on a very sturdy, level surface. We're going to come down here, take this and these off. Those look like 8mm. We'll go ahead and take those off. Same on this side, so we're going to have to take both wheels off. We've got these, and then under the vehicle as well. Take these 10mm off right here, and there used to be one there. And if you're at an establishment that puts on wheels and takes them off all day, when you're putting these things back on, go ahead and just thread them on with your hand. Take a few extra seconds. Make sure they're threaded, and then put them on. You know, it's not like a paintball gun where you can just start loading pellets and, you know what I mean? So do that. Like I said, we got ourselves some 8mm here. Grab our 8mm. We'll go ahead and take off these three down here. I saw one guy making a video. He says, and if you're worried about the paint, I was like, who's not worried about the paint? That's like the most difficult thing to do on a car is paint it. Who's worried about the paint? What? Continuing on with your 8mm, go ahead and take these out. I want to loosen this up before I get that lip bolt out. Puller here. I go ahead and pull that up and out. And then the rest are just clips holding that guy in there. All right. Should loosen it up a little bit. If you go ahead and look up under the wheel well here, I think you're able to see two 10mm bolts. Yeah, there we go. Right up onto there. You can see her. There we go. Go ahead and pull those two guys out of there. Slightly chamfered bolt there. In hindsight, we might want to take a little extra care to pry that clip a little bit out. On the other side, that clip broke, so take a little bit more precaution in getting that guy out of there. It's not the end of the world. It just adds a little bit more stability to the bumper. But I just wanted to show you this clip that holds the bumper onto the fenders. This goes on here like so, and it sneaks in behind this guy right here. See that? And that helps retain the bumper onto the fender here. 10mm bolts. Like I said, go here and here and hold it up. Put a nice large beach towel down on the ground here. That serves two purposes. Once, it reminds me how much I would rather be at the beach. And the other is that if this thing does fall, it has somewhere soft to land. And in light of Jaguar's new brilliant marketing strategy, it goes along with all the vibrant colors that are available out there. If you'll take note, on the other side of this bumper, there are some drain hoses that we got to unclip from the bumper. That's the only thing holding it on right now. So I'm over there taking that off right now. So go ahead and just unclip it there. And unclip it there. Yeah, just be careful just not to rip the bumper off as soon as you get all the bolts off, because there is that little detail right there. And then right here is you just go ahead and unclip that. I'll try to do it with one hand so I can film and show at the same time. There it is. It's just wiper fluid. So I'm not exactly sure what all that's doing in there. So I'm not personally familiar with why that's routed like that. So if you have any information, go ahead and leave that in the comments section for the rest of us. Well, there's your bumper. That's a lot easier than I thought, actually. Another thing you can do if you are and should be concerned about your paint job, especially if you're doing somebody else's car, because that's what they're concerned about, is wash this off because you don't want this all that sand and dust scratching in and out when you're putting it back together. Plus, when you're handling this thing, you're not scratching it all up anyways. Kind of curious if the last body work that happened, they may have left a couple bolts out, especially here and here. I think that may have needed a bolt. Because the other thing they did at the body place that I won't mention, which did a good enough job, they did a fine job, but they did forget a couple things, is they forgot to paint this black. So when you look on the outside, instead of seeing an all black grille, you see this white trim piece here, which is mildly amusing. See how they didn't paint this bottom trim piece under the grille here? It looks much better if it's painted correctly. And to do that, okay, so if you look up under here, there are some rather small torque screws right here, all the way along the top here. Those are going to unscrew. Yeah, so you can see those clips right there. Those retaining clips. More like guide clips. So go ahead and grab yourself a T20, and we're going to go ahead and take these torque screws out. Because what I have seen people do is change these emblems out with a lighted emblems. So that's really cool. After all, if you're driving a Jaguar, you're pretty much not interested in reliability. That's not the point of this car. It's more or less for aesthetics. It's like road candy. That's all you're really doing here. If you want something reliable, you're probably going to drive a Toyota Tacoma, to be honest. Just kidding. No, I'm not. All right, there we go. Like 2 centimeter torque screws there. And go ahead and we're going to take off the styrofoam piece. That's got to come out to get to the torque screws below there also. Right there, there, and there. We'll go ahead and grab our plastic molding tool or a flat plastic device, whatever you have available. And then the grill will start to come out of there. Let me go ahead and flip that over for you so I can show you the clips that are providing all the difficulty. So you've got the black clips that hold it into the bumper, and then the silver piece is held on by these clips here. So just go ahead and carefully flip those up and out of the way, and then you can take that black piece out if you need to, or doing anything with the emblem or that piece. So what I'm going to go ahead and do here is clean this front section up here, like so. So what appears to have had happened is they got the bumper in and they shot the whole thing white. And what we need to do is scuff that up and repaint it. So I'm going to get me some 320 grit sandpaper and we're going to go ahead and redo that. What we want to achieve is a little bit of aggressive scratches on here so the paint adheres to this. And then we'll go ahead and put some black on it and we'll clear it real fast. Like I said, it's behind the grill. You're not going to see it. It's not going to get buffed or washed at all. So what you're looking for is, this is purely aesthetic. Like I said, I'm just going to mask this off. So mask any section off that you don't want painted, obviously. And then what I'm going to do here is back tape this, places a string of tape on there, and then I can put this masking material under that. So what I'm doing here is I'm just sanding the surface. I recommend some 320 grit sandpaper. Just go ahead and hit that evenly. We're not trying to get down to the plastic at all. If we did get down to the plastic, then we're looking at using some plastic promoter and things like that. We don't want to do that. We just want to scuff the paint here so a new layer of paint will go on it just fine. So go ahead and grab you some grease and wax remover at your local body shop or paint store. Auto body paint store. You're not going to get that at Home Depot. And then that'll take off any extra wax or chemicals that'll interfere with your paint. Another thing you can do is wipe that down with some cheesecloth and get any dust particles off of there. What I'm going to do here is spray it down with some black. I want to try to get an even coat and keep the wet edge as best I can. With the thin radius of a spray can, it's not extremely easy to do, but it can be done. You only got like an inch and a half worth of material to work with. What you're trying to achieve is a really nice wet edge. You want to keep it wet so you don't get that rattle can look that you've seen on some things that have been painted. For our purposes here, I'm going to hit it with a couple stages of black with the Rustoleum that I have now. Here we go. I'm going to paint that, get that dried, and then we're going to hit it with clear in about 10-15 minutes. You can go ahead and get some proper automotive paint. I highly recommend the Restoration Shop online. I'll provide some links in the description section for you. For the average do-it-yourselfer, that's not really a feasible option. You're going to need a large compressor, spray guns. The paint is not cheap on automotive paint. So for our purposes here, and considering what kind of application we're using this for, it's really not necessary to get that elaborate. If you can, I highly recommend that you go as far as you can with whatever materials and equipment you have. However, for this demonstration, this is going to be way more than we need for what we're looking at here. But that's looking really nice. So like I said, I'm going to hit this with 2 stages of black, and then I'm going to come back behind it with another couple stages of clear. Okay, it's been a couple minutes, 10-15 minutes here. I'm going to hit it with another stage, this time with clear. I'm going to hit it with 2 stages. I'm not going to bore you too much, but I'm going to hit it this time and then one more time. And that'll give us some nice thick paint on there. Nice. Not so thick that it runs, but just thick enough. Painting is like an art form, you know? Not just Bob Ross does it. Here I accidentally shot this in slow motion, but it kind of illustrates, it gives you a little bit of an idea of what's going on with the paint and the atomization. You're just trying to get that as even as possible, which creates that wet edge. And then when you go back, you're going to overlap that just slightly. Now with an HVLP gun, obviously, you're going to overlap that, maybe 1 or 2 inches and get a nice even coat to keep that wet edge going as you're layering it, as you work across the material. To go next level, you could consider getting an airbrush gun and just doing this with automotive paint if you wanted to go that level, and that would step up your game. But like I'm saying, that's a considerable cost to upgrade to if that's not something you're going to be wanting to do a lot. And for a one-time shot, a behind the grill type of paint job like this is, I think this is quite sufficient for our needs here. So we're just going to Bob Ross this and paint some nice happy clouds in here. And I used a matte finish clear on this one, another Rustoleum project, and here it is wet, but when it dries it's going to be a matte finish, which was what I was going for. And there you can see the matte finish there, which came out really nice. Okay, let's go ahead and put this thing back together here. First off, we place the bezel and grill back in So that's clipped in nicely. We're going ahead and grab our T20s that we had. Tighten it down just, not even a Newton meter maybe. Go ahead and we'll place in our styrofoam piece. Slide it under here gently. This is all clipped in really nice. Yeah, I like how that looks. When we're ready to put this guy on, I'll go ahead and demonstrate that. But like I said, you don't need to disassemble this bottom splash guard if you don't want to take the bumper off. Just these three 10mm bolts right here should be fine enough, because this is not easy to get on and off. It is really a pain. I've done it a couple times. I don't, to be honest, I think it's easier to take the bumper off than it is this splash guard. However, I think that has a much better look to it instead of that being white. Moving around to the back side here, don't forget that'll clip in. Oops, it'll clip in here, and then where's the other one? Yeah, and here too. So here and through there. I'll do that and show you. Now you can go ahead and raise the bumper, slide it in really carefully, and we'll start putting our bolts here on the bottom. I'll go ahead and attempt to show you. If you're not comfortable doing this by yourself, go ahead and grab a friend. That'll help you out with it. Kind of come from the top. Slide right in there like that. Just, did I go too far? No, that's right. There you go. Has some really cool clips here on top to help you out. It's really nice. There you go. And then that clipped in. Wow, usually you don't get that lucky. That right piece clipped in for us, and this piece over here looks like it got broke. Previously, I noticed that when I took it off, but we're looking pretty solid. The bolts that hold it in are really gonna do well. Don't forget that there are some 1, 2, 3 10mm that hold that splash guard up from underneath here. Yeah, I think we're good here. And I would get the ones here first. Let's go ahead and get those first. We'll dial those in on both sides, and then we'll get the bottom ones. Or actually, let's go with the top ones. We'll get the bottom ones last. Right. So we got these bolts here, these 10mm. As you'll remember, we have the one right about here that goes straight in that way, and then we have two that go up and pin this section here. So I'm going to do that and not demonstrate. I think I did a pretty good demonstration on the disassembly. Go ahead and get the screw head type bolt screw looking thing. We're going to pin this guy here. Right here, I'm going to go with these three. Go with the Trinity. Have you met Trinity? If you haven't met Trinity yet, I suggest you keep watching my videos that are less automotive inclined, less mechanical in nature. Because we do hard work so we can work hard so we can play hard. Is that right? That's the secret anyways. Go ahead and we'll go ahead and do the same on the other side. And what we got is, remember, we have our 6 screw type 8mm and our more bolt like 8mm here. The bolts go into the far end, right there and here. And the more screw type ones go into here. And you'll notice that these extend out to kind of hold this top bumper on while you're that's kind of a nice feature. Sometimes engineers can be your friend. I'm not sure if it matters, but what I've done is started from the inside and worked my way out on these bolts. to make everything even. Looking extremely similar to a vehicle at this point. Go ahead and we'll close the hood. And everything's lined up. That's what we like. All right, let's go ahead and put the wheels back on. And I feel confident at this point in your ability, since you've accomplished so much, that you're going to be able to put a tire on. Not like the professionals. Remember, don't be putting them in like paintballs. Like, start them with your hand. Come on, guys. So that concludes our bumper replacement and paint demonstration on the 2016 Jaguar. So if you find my videos useful, informative, or entertaining, please consider subscribing, and at the very least, a quick like helps all of the up-and-coming artists like myself to continue making these awesome videos for you. Thanks again. This is TC in Paradise.